United States may have been eavesdropping on German Chancellor Angela Merkel's phone conversations for more than 10 years. Well, that's according to German magazine Der Spiegel. It reported that Merkel's mobile phone has been listed by the National Security Administration since 2002, and that the phone was still on the NSA list weeks before Obama visited Berlin in June. So what does this mean for diplomacy for these countries? Well, international relations expert Tom Wheeler is in the studio this morning to break this down for us and to help us understand it. Morning, Tom. Thank you for coming in this early in the morning. Some angry Germans this morning.
I'm afraid so. This, is the murky world of intelligence, and through the activities of young Mr. Snowden, a lot of these things have become known that are otherwise sort of buried and not discussed. And of course, these days with cell phones, it's so much easier. The signals are all out there, much more easy to intercept.
Tom, let's call a spade a spade. I mean, we obviously know that in any government at any time, in time, there is surveillance going on. We are looking at other countries. We are looking to see if they pose any threat to anybody else, especially a country like the US. But to actually have access to Angela Merkel's personal phone, if this is true, I mean, they're still denying it, but if this is true, what does that mean? What are they looking for?
Goodness knows. I think when you've got an organization like the National Security Agency that is tapping into the phones of everybody from Brazil to France to Germany to South Africa, then you've got to, it sort of gets out of control in a sense that people get it on lists, and in my time in the Foreign Service, I always assumed that my telephone was being bugged. In fact, when I was in Turkey, there was a similar minor scandal, and the intelligence service said, but of course we bug everybody's phones. What do you think?
So, in terms of Germany and US, just give us a brief background of what is their history and what damage could something like this do now? Well,
they're both NATO members. That's the first important one. They're the what do they call it, the Euro-Atlantic community, and this is where it becomes so harmful that you don't even trust your own allies, that you spy on their prime minister and try to check that she's not going to launch a terror attack. I mean, that's just absurdity in the extreme.
I mean, it's also extended. I mean, according to Weekend reports, France and Italy, there's evidence that this has been done there. Yes. Why would the US have any particular, is there a reason for them to be concerned about these countries?
I would not think so. I mean, again, they're both members, they're all members of NATO together. They operate together from Brussels, where NATO headquarters is. The European Union is sort of part of this community of Western democracies. So it's very difficult to explain, why this should have happened. I mean, you'd have to ask them.
You'd have to ask them. How do they fix it? I mean, we're obviously going to go, the US saying, we denied it never happened, and then we've got, Germany saying, but we have proof, and this is... How do you get around something like this now?
They will, I think the German head of intelligence is already in Washington as we speak to try and discuss this and to sort this lot out. It would be ironic if the Germans were spying on the Americans, of course.
Well, we'd have to wait and see, I suppose. Yes. So, I mean, in terms of fixing would it dent their relations? Do we see it? Do we see something like this denting it permanently?
No, I really don't think so. I mean, there's too much at stake here for all of them. There's a lot of wounded pride and embarrassment, and they've got to talk that through and resolve it and promise not to do it again, and I think then move on. And we hear
about Barack Obama not being told in 2010 that this was happening, and now they say, okay, there hasn't been continuous surveillance and there isn't going to be. Is it possible that a president of a country will not know, that his men in black, if I have to say, know about this, but he genuinely may not have known? Does that happen in a government like
that I can't tell you. That's something that I'm not privy to. But the US administration is so vast that the possibility is that somebody in the White House knew, but he didn't. But I don't know.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what comes out of Washington and what. Yes. All right. Well, it's certainly going to be one to watch this week. International relations expert Tom Wheeler joining us in the studio on that story.
News that moves. eNCA.com.